Despite days of pressure from the right wing of the House Republican Conference, House Speaker Mike Johnson made it pretty crystal clear that the top-line spending deal that he negotiated with the Senate over the weekend will remain in place.
Our top-line agreement remains. We are getting our next steps together, and we are working toward a robust appropriations process. So stay tuned for all of that to develop. Thank you.
Do you want a short term?
All right, we're staying tuned. Johnson's saying the agreement includes concessions to cut IRS funding and COVID-era funding. Our Jay O'Brien is also staying tuned there on Capitol Hill. So Johnson has still not said if he'd bring a short-term measure to the House floor, right? But we're just a week out from a shutdown.
And just let me walk you through how we got to that on-camera statement from the speaker earlier today. So there have been days of pressure since that deal came out with Chuck Schumer from hardline Republicans onto Mike Johnson, who say they do not like this deal. They feel that this deal spends too much money. They said that Johnson got rolled by Senate Democrats and criticisms of that nature. And so there was this question as to whether or not Johnson, who's a fairly new Speaker of the House, who was once a hardline conservative in his own right in the House Republican Conference, would bend to that pressure. And so there was a lot of anticipation surrounding that statement that he made, that surprise statement really, because we didn't get much of a heads up that it was coming, as to if he would announce he was backing out of the deal or if he would double down and say he's sticking with this deal that he struck with Schumer. And then, of course, as you noted, the speaker saying he's sticking with this deal and he's going to try to get this passed. He's almost certain going to have to turn to Democrat votes to get that done because he's got enough hardline conservatives against him. The other thing, as you mentioned, is that the clock is running out to get something done here. We haven't heard from the speaker as if he's open to a temporary stopgap funding measure to buy even more time, the third temporary measure by my count, to try to get this larger deal passed through both the House and the Senate. There almost certainly isn't enough time legislatively to get that done by the date that would trigger a government shutdown or a partial government shutdown in just about a week from now.
So what are hardline conservatives asking for exactly?
Well, they want further spending cuts. They want more conservative policy provisions put in this legislation, all of which is not going to happen. The Senate is not going to go for that. So they're not happy about this deal. We caught up with one hardline conservative, the chair of the House Freedom Caucus, Bob Good, outside earlier today. We also caught up with a more moderate conservative talking about the position that Speaker Johnson is in. Here are they. Here are they.
I don't agree with the announced deal between the Senate and the House that came from the weekend. I'm vehemently opposed to it, publicly and privately.
I call it my way or the highway politics. He's got to decide whether or not he continues to negotiate with people who have an unrealistic view of where we are politically right now versus working with the other side.
And while those hardliners aren't happy, Bob Good told me and other reporters earlier this week that he doesn't believe that Johnson's job would be in jeopardy. Obviously, that's always a tenuous question, but he doesn't believe that there are hardliners who would go for Johnson's job, despite the fact that they do not like this spending deal that he struck.
All right, Jay O'Brien on the Hill for us. Thanks, Jay.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.